Greetings everyone, especially class 12 students. Hope you all are giving your exams very well and that everybody comes out with flying colors in term 1 CBSE exams. Today I have tried to create a small video for class 12 computer science on functions. Just the important points that you should keep in your mind when you are dealing with functions in Python. I have created a function m that has three formal arguments a, b, and c. A here is the positional argument, b and c are the default arguments. So we know that a function will only execute when we call that function. And then if there are some arguments, formal arguments defined in the function definition, then we must make sure that when we are calling that function, provide the arguments, positional arguments. If you are using a positional argument as well as default arguments in your function definition, then make sure that positional argument should come before the default argument. We cannot assign a positional argument after default arguments this way. Let us look at different actual argument situations. First, let's take a simple one, that is we're going to call function m, and since we are using three formal arguments, let's try and give all three arguments as 10, 20, and 30. Now when this function is called, when I hit enter, 10, 20, 30 will be passed on to a, b, and c respectively in that formal parameter list. And inside that function m, what the code that I have written is just a single statement that will simply display the values of a, b, and c. So it should come a is 10, b is 20, and c is 30. Since we have already specified default parameters for b and c as 1 and 2, so when we just give one position argument, this will be passed on to a, and b and c will be 1 and 2. Now this was the position argument. Now in keyword argument, when it's a type of actual argument, we use them during a function call. So during a function call, in the actual argument list, we specify the names of the formal arguments and then the value. Like for instance, let's say I'm calling this m function, but this time I'm specifying that in c, that formal argument which is there, I want 500. A, which is there, I want 200. And the formal argument b that's there, maybe I want 5. So this way of calling a function is specifying the formal argument names in the actual argument list is known as keyword arguments, and then this will pass on the values respectively. That is, the c will receive 500, b will receive 5, and a will receive 200. Thing that you have to keep in your mind is when you will be using the positional argument as well as the keyword argument in your function call statement. Now this time it's again very simple. Just remember, when we were creating a function, when we were defining the formal arguments, what we had to remember was positional arguments should come before the default arguments. So same applies here as well. That is, the positional arguments should be given first before the keyword arguments. Let's call this m, and maybe I want to assign b as 300 and c as, let's say, 600 and 10. So what I may be expecting is b will be given 300, c will be given 600, and then a will receive 10. But this is going to throw me an error, and the reason is the positional argument should be used before the keyword arguments. So the correct way to do this would be, if there are any positional arguments, first give them. Only after that you can use the default, the keyword arguments. Like I have chosen keyword arguments for b and c. Let's take c as 300 and then b is 600. Now a will receive 10, b will receive 600, and c will receive 300. Maybe we want to use just one keyword argument, like c is equals to 300. Now what happens? Like position argument 10 will be given to a, c is the keyword argument, so the c that's there in the formal argument will receive 300. And what we have not given is one argument, and that will be b, and for b we have already assigned a default argument, so b will receive 1 from that default. So a will be 10, b will be 1, and then c will be 100. Things you should keep in your mind when you are dealing with functions. Go through the scope of variable.